Park Jin-woo said it like he was ordering dessert. Calm, casual, final. He leaned toward his right-hand man, Cho, and spoke in Korean. 3 words, just 3. Dispose of her, leave no trace. He didn't look at me when he said it. He didn't need to. I was standing 4 feet away, hands clasped behind my back straight, chin level, the way they taught me in the military, the way I had perfected over 7 years of private security work. I was a statue. I was furniture. I was nothing. That was what Park Jin-woo believed, and for the next 40 minutes, I let him keep believing it, because he had no idea, not one single idea, that I understood every word he had just said. The room was on the top floor of a private club in Seoul, the kind of place that doesn't have a name on the door. Dark walnut panels, a ceiling so low it pressed down on you, the smell of leather and tobacco soaked into the walls over decades. A single bottle of whiskey sat on the table between Jin-woo and Cho, the kind of whiskey that costs more than most people's rent. They were comfortable. They were relaxed. This was their territory, and I was just another hired body filling up space in the corner. My name is Maria. I am a black woman, 6'1", 210 pounds of muscle built over years of military service and private contracting. I was hired 3 weeks prior through an international security firm based out of Chicago. My assignment was straightforward. Accompany the principal. Stay close, stay quiet, stay alive. Standard detail work. That is how it looked from the outside. If this story is hitting the way I think it is, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because what happens next is the reason this night changed everything. Jin-woo didn't look like what he was. He didn't look like a threat. He looked like a businessman. Sharp suit, clean hands, a face that could pass for a university professor in the right light. But his eyes gave him away if you knew how to read them. They were always calculating, always measuring, always deciding who in the room was useful and who was disposable. From the moment I walked into that club, he had already decided what I was. Disposable. Cho was the opposite. Loud where Jin-woo was quiet. Nervous where Jin-woo was still. He spent the evening trying to prove he belonged in the same room as his boss. He laughed too hard. He poured drinks too fast, the kind of energy that fills silence but never says anything worth hearing. Jin-woo started talking about me the way someone talks about furniture they are considering replacing. He switched to Korean mid-sentence, not because Cho didn't speak English, because he didn't want me to understand. "She is a waste of space," he said, swirling his glass. "Big, dumb, and American." Cho laughed, the laugh of a man who knows exactly which way the power flows and is desperate to stay on the right side of it. Jin-woo smiled, the smile that said he already owned the joke before it was finished. I didn't react, not a flicker. Not a breath out of place. The insults washed over me the way cold water washes over stone. It touched the surface, it didn't reach anything underneath. But then the conversation shifted, and that is when it stopped being personal. That is when it became dangerous. Jin-woo set his glass down. He leaned forward. The playfulness drained out of his voice like someone had pulled a plug. "Business," he said. "Tonight. The transfer happens tonight." "The timeline moved," Jin-woo said. "The supplier is nervous. He wants it off his hands. We move it through the port, Pier 9. We have the dock workers handled. The police captain on the east side is ours. It should be clean." "Should be," Cho repeated, and I caught the tremor underneath the word. "The Yoon family has been watching," Jin-woo said. "They know something is moving. If they find out when and where, this becomes a war. Not a disagreement, a war." My pulse didn't change. My breathing didn't change. But something behind my eyes sharpened. Pier 9, the Yoon family, tonight. I was recording, not with a device, with my mind. Every name, every detail, every crack in the plan he was laying out like it was already finished. And then Jin-woo looked at me, really looked at me, He turned his full attention to the woman standing in the corner and studied me the way a surgeon studies something before cutting into it. Then he said it, slowly, deliberately, in Korean. If things go wrong at the pier, we use her. She is the shield. She is big enough to stop a bullet. If she dies, no one asks questions. A foreign contractor, a black woman from America, she has no family here, no connections. She disappears and the paperwork says she was never here at all. He said it without malice. That was the part that stayed with me longest. There was no hatred in his voice. It was logistics. It was math. I was a variable in an equation, and the equation didn't require me to survive. Cho nodded. He didn't hesitate. He didn't push back. He just nodded. Jinwoo picked up his pen, a fountain pen, expensive, the kind of object a man like him carries to remind the room that everything he touches has value. He began writing on a napkin, a timeline. He was planning my death the way someone plans a dinner reservation, casually, efficiently, completely. And that is when he made the mistake. He looked at me again and said, still in Korean, "Does she understand anything we have said tonight?" Cho shrugged. "She is American." Jinwoo almost smiled. Then he turned to me the way you turn to a dog you are about to test, and he said, "Do you understand me?" I held his gaze. I held it for exactly 3 seconds, long enough to feel the weight of what came next. Then I spoke, not in English, in Korean, fluent, clean, precise, the kind of Korean that takes years to build, not weeks. I said, "I understood you, Park Jin-woo. I understood everything you said about Pier 9. I understood what you said about the Yoon family, and I understood exactly what you just decided to do with me." The pen stopped. It didn't drop. It stopped, mid-stroke. His hand froze in the air like someone had cut the string holding it up. His mouth opened, not to speak, just to open. Cho's face went white, not pale. White. The color drained out of it so fast it was like watching someone pull a plug on a light. The room went silent, completely, absolutely silent. The kind of silence that has texture. You could hear the whiskey settling in the bottle. You could hear the building breathing around us. Jinwoo stared at me, and for the first time all night, I saw something in his eyes that was not calculation, not confidence, not arrogance. It was the look of a man who had just realized he had been standing at the edge of a cliff the entire evening and had only just now looked down. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I didn't move a single muscle in my face. I just stood there, the way I had been standing all night, hands behind my back, chin level, still. But everything had changed. If you are still watching, leave a comment right now. Tell me what you think Jinwoo did in the next 10 minutes, because what happened after that silence is something I will never forget. He sat there for a long time, the pen still in his hand, the napkin still in front of him. Cho was staring at his shoes like they held the answer to every question he had ever been afraid to ask. Jinwoo finally set the pen down, gently, carefully. The way you set down something you have just realized is sharper than you thought. Then he asked me how long had I understood Korean. I told him the truth. 4 years of study, 2 years of living in Busan, a lifetime of learning that the people who underestimate you are the ones who reveal the most. He nodded, slowly, not agreeing, accepting something about himself he could not take back. "Pier 9, he said finally. "Walk me through it. Tell me what you know." And I did. That night, Park Jin-woo did not move his shipment through Pier 9. He did not use me as a shield. He did not disappear me. He changed the route. He changed the timeline. He listened. For the first time in what I imagine was a very long time, he listened to someone he had written off, someone he had planned to throw away like a used tool. The world is full of loud voices, rooms full of men who talk and talk and talk, filling every inch of available air with the sound of their own certainty. And in those rooms, there are quiet people, people who stand in corners, people who say nothing, People who are assumed to be empty. They are not empty. They are full. Full of everything they have heard. Full of everything they have seen. Full of every word that was spoken in their presence by someone who was certain they were not listening. Park Jin-woo learned that lesson in a single sentence, a sentence spoken in his own language by a woman he had already written off as dead. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy, and the people who never learn that difference are the ones who end up frozen, pen in hand, staring at the one person in the room they should have been paying attention to all along.